What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the STR Investing Podcast. I am your host, Mark Lumpkin, and you're here for another Monday Market Data Report. This is the last time I'm going to do these like these. I've gotten access through our data partner to all the information lump sum. So starting next week, I'm going to break out markets for you guys with occupancy, nightly rate based upon bedroom count, and then amenity stacks, the amenity penetration tool. So we've definitely bringing it to you, different buy boxes all around the country, and the data is going to get better starting next week. But this week, we're going to wrap this up with Sevierville, Tennessee. Let's talk about Sevierville a little bit, and then let's get after the amenity penetration and what you have to do to compete in that market, guys. I've talked about Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, the Smoky Mountains. Many of times, we oftentimes reference them as like how hot tubs used to be nice to haves and now they're must haves, and how the amenities arms race has really changed many markets around the country, but specifically that Smoky Mountain market. And the data tells us what I've been talking about for years. So it's pretty fascinating. And even I was a little bit caught off guard when I saw the percentage of properties and what they have. So at the end of this episode, we'll dive into that. But let's talk about Sevierville, Tennessee as a market in a whole. You got 15 million plus visitors to the Smoky Mountain National Park. It's the number one most visited park in the United States of America, which is just crazy to think about. A vast majority of it is domestic. 98% of travelers to that market are drive-to, coming from Nashville and Atlanta, some other large cities around there. You've got Charlotte, you got Savannah, Georgia. You got all kinds of big cities that are just a couple hours from the Smoky Mountains National Park, and that's why you're going to see that as the number one most visited park in the U.S. The peak seasons, obviously June, July, and August are totally prime family vacation time. You get a lot of people that come in there. And then we see a lot of people in October. It's kind of that leaf prepper season. You got the colors are changing. I like to go to North Georgia in that time too and really be part of fall, which we don't get that in Florida. So those are definitely your peak seasons. Regulations, pretty straightforward, guys. Pretty much most of these markets are going to collect some local type of state and local tax, and then you're going to have to apply for your permit. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward and easy. This is not going to be one of those markets where you have to be like a primary residence or you have to follow crazy guidelines and rules. It's pretty short-term rental friendly, and obviously there is a crap load of short-term rentals out there. That's kind of a quick snapshot of the Smoky Mountains in general. Let's also talk about the competition that you have to compete with. So what do we have out there? We have 62,000 active listings in Sevierville, but then we have about 13,000 in the surrounding areas. Remember, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, they're all within like 30, 45 minutes of each other, driving in the mountains, so they're really not far away. There is a lot of short-term rentals in that market, about 13,000 plus. Occupancy is anywhere from 45 to 60, depending on the type of product you have, and daily rates can range from about $350 to well over $1,000 a night, depending on your product and how big your house is. It's a competitive market. We've obviously seen it as like kind of a tried and true market where it's been a place many people have invested for many, many years. And let's talk about the amenity penetration. What do you have? And so I've talked about this for years, guys. I've talked about how hot tubs went from being a nice have to a must have in markets like the Smoky Mountains. Well, Sevierville, Tennessee, 94.8% of short-term rentals have a hot tub. That's insane. I've never seen that widely of an adopted amenity in any market across the country for any amenity, but it makes sense. It was a nice to have, and then everyone realized they had to have it to compete, and 95% of these properties have hot tubs. The next one is a game room, which surprised me as well. 77.8% of short-term rentals in this market have game rooms. Remember, we filter out full-time short-term rentals. These houses have to be available for a certain number of days, and they have to be set up as a short-term rental. So if you see the numbers a little bit differently, and that's most likely because we filter out owner-occupied properties. If someone lists their house for a month out of the year when they're on vacation in Europe, that's not a short-term rental to us. That's not something we need to worry about competing with. That's just someone's filling a couple empty nights when they're out of town. So we're looking at full-time short-term rentals, and 78% of them have game rooms. So the second biggest number I've ever seen in any market, and it happens to be in the same market. The next one is fire pits. 52% of short-term rentals in Sevierville have fire pits. which is the third biggest number of amenities I've seen in any market, and it's happening in the same market again. I've never seen fire pits over like 25 or 30 or 40%, and 52% have fire pits. 50% have pool tables because they are going to be associated with game rooms, and then 45% have swimming pools, guys. You've seen these builders cranking out these houses with small inside swimming pools. That's becoming the normal, and almost 50% of properties have those. So how do you compete? How do you differentiate? How do you stand out? Well, obviously to compete, you kind of probably have to do all of those things. You're going to need a pool, you're going to need a hot tub, and you're going to need a game room, and you're going to need a fire pit. But if you want to stand out, these are the amenities that you can consider. Movie theaters. Only 14% of properties in Sevierville have movie theaters. Mini golf courses. Only 9% have mini golf courses. Only 6% have playgrounds. Only 5% have saunas. I love that sauna hot tub combination. You guys hear me talk about it in all these markets. A hot tub is just a have to have in Sevierville, but if you throw that sauna in there, the combination of the two go really, really well. And with only 5% of listings having saunas, at this point, it's a great way to stand out. 5% of listings have home gyms. 4.7% have pickleball. Obviously, that's going to be really hard to get a pickleball court in most of these properties. They are on the edge of the mountain. You want those mountain views, but that means that you're in the middle of the woods on the edge of a cliff. And are you building a retaining wall for $100,000 to put a pickleball court in? Probably not. So that's why such a small percentage of properties have it. However, if you find a property with flat space and you can put a pickleball court in, it's a great amenity to have, and it will really differentiate your property. Most people just simply can't have them. It's not that they don't want to have them, they just don't have a spot for them. The next one and the last one is waterfront. Only 3% of properties are waterfront. So there you go, guys. If you want to compete in Sevierville, you got to have hot tub, game room, fire pit, pool. If you want to stand out and differentiate, you can look at movie theaters, mini golf, playgrounds, saunas, home gyms, pickleball courts, and try to find a property that's waterfront. Those are ways to stand out. You know the ways that you have to do to compete. Let me know if you guys have any questions, if there's any markets that you want to see. Next week, I'm going to bring you occupancy and ADR based upon bedroom count, as well as the amenity stack. We're going to blend these all together for you guys, trying to get a little bit better every time. Thanks for tuning into the STR Investing Podcast, and we will catch you guys on Friday for this special guest and next Monday for another Monday Market Report. Thank you.